Have you ever felt him slipping away, right when you thought things were getting deeper? One moment he was attentive, calling, making plans, and then suddenly, silence, no explanation, no closure, just distance. If you've ever asked yourself, did I do something wrong? Am I not attractive enough anymore? Maybe I gave too much too soon. You're not alone. Especially for women in our 40s, 50s, even 60s, these questions hit different. They come with more history, more heart, and more hope. But here's the truth. Men don't pull away because you're too old or too much. They pull away when they don't feel something deeper. And that deeper thing, it's not about how you look. It's about how they feel around you. In this video, we're going to talk about what truly makes a man stay. Not just chase, but choose you. If any part of this speaks to your story, leave a comment and share it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. This space is for you. Section 1, Emotional Safety, where he can be himself. Let's talk about something most women don't realize until much later in life. Men, even the ones who seem confident, strong, even emotionally shut off, are often terrified, not of failure, not of commitment, but of being misunderstood. Most men grow up in a world where they're praised for being in control, not for being open. They're taught to solve, not to share. So by the time they're adults, they've learned to hide the parts of themselves that feel soft, scared, or uncertain. Not because they don't feel those things, but because they're afraid of what will happen if they show them. That fear doesn't go away with age. In fact, for many men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, it gets buried even deeper. They've built careers, families, identities, all based on showing the world that they've got it all together. But inside, many of them carry wounds they've never spoken out loud. This is where emotional safety comes in, and it's something so many women underestimate. It's not about agreeing with everything he says. It's not about letting him off the hook. It's about creating a space where he doesn't have to perform, where he can take the mask off, where he can be real without fear of being shamed, corrected, or fixed. I want to share a story with you. Linda is 50, divorced, warm-hearted, deeply intuitive. She met a man named Tom who had been through a difficult divorce and rarely opened up about anything personal. For the first few months, their connection was easy but surface level. Until one night, over dinner, something shifted. Tom told her a story about his childhood, about something he'd carried for years but had never spoken aloud. When he finished, he looked up, half smiling, half nervous, and said, "I've never told anyone that before." Linda didn't interrupt. She didn't say, "Oh, I know how that feels," or try to relate it to her own life. She just sat there, soft eyes, steady presence, and let his words land. That moment changed everything between them. Not because she gave him advice, but because she gave him space. That's emotional safety. So how do you offer this in real life? It starts with presence. When he shares something, especially something small but vulnerable, pause. Don't rush to fill the silence, just let it be there. It tells him you're listening, not judging. Second, resist the urge to fix. Men are used to solving problems. What they don't get often is someone who simply lets them feel what they're feeling without trying to turn it into a project. Third, be mindful of your tone. Even playful teasing, if timed wrong, can feel like criticism. You don't have to walk on eggshells, but you do want to be conscious of whether your reactions invite him in or shut him down. Lastly, celebrate the small openings. If he shares something honest, no matter how raw or messy, say thank you. Let him know it mattered to you. Those little affirmations become emotional oxygen for someone who's been holding his breath for years. The truth is, emotional safety isn't soft, it's strong, it's powerful, and not every woman knows how to give it. But those who do, they become unforgettable. Because when a man feels like he can breathe around you, when he feels like he doesn't have to impress or hide or perform, something shifts. He stops running and he starts choosing. Not because you're trying harder, but because with you, he finally feels like he's home. Section 2, Respect for his purpose. Honoring his mission. There's something most women don't realize about men, especially the ones who seem strong, successful, and focused. Underneath all that drive is a quiet hope that the woman by his side believes in what he's building. Not just loves him, but respects the purpose that drives him. Men don't always have the words for it. They might never say, "I need you to respect my mission." But if they feel dismissed, judged, or compared, it cuts deeper than most people think, and over time, it chips away at the connection. A lot of women, without meaning to, make a man feel small, maybe by comparing him to an ex who earned more, or questioning why his business hasn't taken off yet, or suggesting his passion project is just a hobby. It doesn't come from a bad place. Most of the time, it's worry or wanting stability. But for him, it feels like a lack of faith. Men don't expect you to understand every detail of what they do. They're not looking for applause. What they crave is that quiet look that says, "I see you, and I believe in what you're building, even if it's still messy." Let me tell you about Aaron. He's 52. After decades working in finance, he left it all behind to finally pursue what had always been in his heart. Music. He started small, playing acoustic sets at local cafes, writing songs late into the night. It didn't make sense on paper. The money wasn't there. His friends didn't get it. Even his adult kids were skeptical. But his partner, Rachel, never once rolled her eyes. She didn't pretend to understand every chord or lyric. She just listened. She'd show up at every performance, no matter how small the crowd. When he doubted himself, she'd say, "If this is what lights you up, I'll be here while you chase it." He once told me she didn't just support me, she respected it. And that made me want to give her everything. That's the power of respect. It's not loud, it's not flat, but to a man, it's everything. So how do you give that kind of respect, even when you don't fully understand his path? Start by being curious, ask questions. Not to critique, but to learn. Not every man is used to being asked about his dreams. Just the fact that you want to know means more than you think. Second, celebrate progress, not perfection. Did he finally finish a chapter of the book he's been writing? Tell him it's brave. Did he sign up for that coaching certification? Remind him how proud you are that he's doing something for himself. And most importantly, don't compare. Every man has a different journey. And nothing makes a man shut down faster than hearing, "Well, so-and-so already made it doing that." Instead of pressure, offer presence. Here's the thing. Respect isn't just about what he does. It's about how you make him feel while he's doing it. Does he feel encouraged, or does he feel like he has to defend his dreams? Because when a man feels respected by a woman, he opens up, he softens, he shares more, he commits deeper. Not because she needs him to succeed, but because she sees the fire in him and trusts that he'll find his way. So the next time you see your partner working late, scribbling ideas in a notebook, or getting excited about something that seems small, pause, look at him, and ask yourself, does he feel my belief? That quiet kind of support, that deep respect? It's not something men beg for, but when they find it, they never want to lose it. And sometimes, it's not the loudest kind of love that keeps a man. It's the one that says, without words, "I see who you are, and I'm standing beside you while you become who you're meant to be." Section 3, playfulness and lightness. The power of joy. There's something truly beautiful about lightness in a relationship. Not silliness, not pretending everything's fine when it's not, but that feeling of ease, of joy, of being able to exhale around someone and just be. A lot of women, especially after going through heartache or divorce, approach love with a serious heart. And it's understandable. We've been through things. We've learned hard lessons. We want depth. We want clarity. But sometimes, without realizing it, we bring so much emotional weight into the early stages of connection that we forget how powerful lightness can be. Men feel this too, especially those who have been through their own versions of loss, divorce, or disappointment. They walk into something new holding their breath, waiting for the moment they'll be misunderstood, or expected to fix, or judged. But when a man meets a woman who makes life feel lighter, not because she avoids hard things, but because she knows how to carry them with grace, he remembers what joy feels like. He remembers that connection doesn't always have to be heavy. I remember a story from a man named David. He was 56, newly divorced, and emotionally shut down. He told me, "I wasn't looking for love. I was just trying to feel okay again." Then he met Claire. She didn't press him with deep questions on their first few dates. She didn't analyze every silence or ask him where things were going. She just made him laugh. She teased him gently when he got lost driving. She danced in the kitchen while making eggs. She'd send him little notes with the worst dad jokes imaginable. It wasn't performative, it was real. And for the first time in years, he felt alive again. David said, "She didn't try to dig into my past. She just let me feel safe enough to be here now." That's what playfulness does. It brings people back into the moment. It tells their nervous system, "You can relax now." But here's the thing. Playfulness isn't about avoiding depth. It's about building the foundation where depth can grow. Because when a man feels safe enough to laugh with you, he'll start to open up in other ways too. So how do you bring this kind of lightness into your connection? It starts with allowing yourself to play. Let go of the pressure to say the right thing or show the best version of yourself. Let yourself be silly sometimes. Let yourself laugh at a bad pun. Wear the socks that don't match. Order dessert just because. Next, invite him into those moments with you. Tease gently, never with sarcasm. Ask spontaneous questions like, if you could disappear for a weekend, where would you go? Suggest something fun and low stakes, like trying a weird new snack or watching the cheesiest movie you can find. But most importantly, be the breeze, not the storm. Don't use humor to mask pain or control the energy. Use it to open a door. A smile softens even the most guarded man. A laugh shared in the quiet moments builds trust without saying a word. Because what most men won't tell you is, they don't fall in love through logic or planning. They fall when they feel good around you, when their body relaxes, when time feels easy. And in a world that's already so full of noise and pressure, a woman who brings warmth and lightness becomes unforgettable. So if you're wondering how to connect more deeply, maybe don't start with the big questions. Maybe start with the joy, with the breeze, with the kind of laughter that says, you don't have to be perfect here. You just have to be you. Because sometimes the most profound love begins with a shared smile. Section 4, appreciation without strings, being seen, not measured. There's something most women don't see right away. Men carry a quiet kind of exhaustion, not from work or pressure or age, but from constantly feeling like they have to earn love. From a very young age, most boys learn that their value comes from what they do. Fix the problem, pay the bills, show up, perform. Only then will they be appreciated. Only then will they be wanted. And while many men won't say it out loud, they carry this into relationships. Deep down, they fear that if they stop doing, they'll stop being loved. That's why appreciation without strings is so powerful. Because it tells him, you don't have to be useful to be valued. You're appreciated simply for being who you are. There's a difference between praise and true appreciation. Praise often sounds like, thanks for doing that, followed by another request. It's conditional. It's tied to performance. But real appreciation happens in the in-between moments. When he's not expecting it. When he hasn't done anything special, it lands deeper. I remember a woman named Diane. She had been dating a man named Greg, a quiet, thoughtful guy who always made sure everything was taken care of. One night, they were sitting on the couch, not doing much. Greg had just brought her tea, nothing dramatic, just a small gesture. Diane looked at him and said, I love how gentle you are, even when no one's watching. She told me later that Greg froze for a second, like he didn't know what to do with that kind of comment. Then he smiled quietly and said, no one's ever said that to me before. That moment meant more to him than any compliment about his job, his house, or his ability to fix a broken faucet, because it wasn't tied to doing, it was tied to being. And that's the part most people miss. Men want to feel seen for more than their actions. They want to feel noticed for who they are when they're not trying to impress anyone. So how do you offer appreciation in a way that nourishes, not pressures? Start by paying attention to the little things. Did he stay calm when someone cut him off in traffic? Did he show up even when he was tired? Did he remember something you said in passing? Tell him, not in a big dramatic way, just a simple, genuine, I noticed that, and it meant something. Second, separate appreciation from outcome. Don't say thank you only when he gets it right. Say thank you when he tries, when he shows up, when he chooses presence, even if it's not perfect. And third, be mindful of tone. Sometimes we say thank you, but it's laced with expectation. Thanks for doing the dishes. Finally, that's not appreciation. That's a reminder, and it doesn't land the same. There's a quiet magic in being seen without being measured. For a man, it can feel like breathing after years of holding it in. Because the truth is, a lot of men don't even know they're carrying this need. They've been performing for so long, they don't expect anything else. But when they meet a woman who sees through the performance, who appreciates not just what they do, but who they are, something inside them softens. They stop striving, they start choosing, not because they're chasing approval, but because they finally feel accepted. So if you want to build a bond that lasts, don't just look for what he's doing. Look for who he is when he's not trying. And remind him gently that he doesn't have to earn your warmth. He just has to be real with you. That kind of love, the kind that notices, honors, and appreciates without expecting more in return, that's the love a man never forgets. Section 5 and sense of belonging. Feeling wanted, not fixed. There's something every man quietly longs for, whether he admits it or not. It's not admiration. It's not even love in the way we usually think of it. It's a sense of belonging. The feeling that he's not being measured, compared, or managed, but simply welcomed. Many women, especially those of us in our 40s, 50s, and beyond, have learned how to hold things together. We're skilled at guiding, fixing, and improving. We've built lives, raised families, navigated pain. That strength is beautiful. But sometimes, without meaning to, it can turn into control. And a man can feel like he's just another project on our list. Most men won't say it, but they notice when the person next to them is always correcting, always editing, always helping him become better. And while the intention might be love, what he feels is this: I'm not enough yet. And when a man feels that over time, he slowly steps back. Not always physically, but emotionally he becomes less present, less open, less connected. Not because he stopped caring, but because he stopped feeling safe. Now here's the shift. Belonging isn't built through perfection. It's built through presence, through shared moments that say, you don't have to be different to be wanted here. I remember talking to a man named Joel in his late 40s. He had been divorced once and was in a new relationship that felt different. I asked him what made this relationship feel safe. He thought for a moment and said, she doesn't try to fix me. She lets me be, and somehow that makes me want to grow. Then he smiled and added, she feels like home. That stayed with me, because home, real home, isn't where everything is in order. It's where you're not afraid to be messy, or tired, or quiet. It's where you can exhale. That's what a sense of belonging feels like. And men, just like us, are starving for it. So how do you create that space? It's not about lowering standards, it's about shifting the tone of the connection. Start with language. Use words that invite rather than instruct. Instead of saying, you should try, what do you think about? Let him feel included, not directed. Build small rituals together. Something simple but shared. A Sunday walk, a morning coffee routine, a show you only watch with each other. These little patterns whisper us without saying a word. And most of all, let go of comparison. Don't talk about what your ex used to do or what your friend's husband is like. Let your relationship be its own experience. When a man feels he's being weighed against someone else, he will never feel fully yours. Also, be mindful of emotional space. Not every quiet moment needs to be filled. Sometimes belonging looks like sitting in silence and still feeling close. Sometimes it's letting him have a bad day without trying to solve it. Because belonging isn't about being cheerful all the time. It's about being real, together. Letting each other be human without punishment or pressure. When a man finds that with a woman, it's rare, and he knows it. He stops trying to prove, he stops trying to protect, he starts showing up with his stories, with his affection, with his truth. So if you're building a connection with someone and wondering how to make it last, ask yourself this: does he feel at home with you? Not impressed, not managed, but seen, wanted, welcomed. Because when a man feels like he belongs, not just in your life, but in your heart, he won't want to leave. And the truth is, we all want to be someone's safe place. Sometimes that begins with creating one. Let me ask you something, from one woman to another. If men truly crave emotional connection more than physical perfection, why do so many of us keep chasing youth, thinness, and surface-level beauty as if our worth depends on it? We dye the grays, count the calories, smooth the wrinkles, hoping that maybe then he'll stay. Maybe then we'll finally feel chosen. But the truth is, the things that make a man stay aren't things you can see in a mirror. It's how he feels when he's with you. That sense of peace, depth, and warmth he can't find anywhere else. Yes, attraction plays a role, but it's not what anchors a man to a relationship. It might spark curiosity, but it's not what builds trust. Real commitment grows from comfort, from presence, from feeling like he can be fully himself without fear of judgment. And here's the shift. It's not about trying harder to be wanted. It's about starting to believe deeply that you are already worthy of love that's real. Not because of what you look like, but because of the woman you've become. You don't have to compete with youth. You don't have to shrink to be seen. What you need is clarity, confidence, and the quiet knowing that the right man will feel lucky to meet the version of you that doesn't perform, but simply shows up whole. That's not less than. That's everything. So here's what I hope you remember. Emotional safety, respect, joy, appreciation, and belonging, they're not out of reach. These are things you already carry within you. You don't need to perform or prove to create connection. You simply need to trust what you already know and offer it with care. You don't have to change yourself to keep someone. What you need is clarity. The kind that draws in the man who's ready, steady, and able to meet the depth inside you. Because you are not too much, and you are certainly not too late. If any part of this touched something in you, I'd love to hear your story. Have you ever felt like you were giving your all, but still left wondering why it wasn't enough? Share it in the comments. This is a space where your voice matters. And if this video brought you clarity or comfort, take a moment to like, subscribe, and pass it along to a woman who might need to hear it too. You're not alone, and you never have to settle for love that doesn't see you.